scary, bone-chilling moments. According to Reddit. Number 6. Victim of severe road rage incident. I'm a small 26-year-old woman, and I'm driving a Mazda 3. At roughly 7 a.m. in the winter, on a mountain county back road, a giant Ford 350 decides I'm going too slow. He starts accelerating. First like he's going to ram me, then at the last moment, passes me illegally on a turn. He gets in front of me, slams on his brakes, and I slam on mine, narrowly missing hitting him. We are sitting there for a minute when he starts revving his engine. He goes in reverse and is trying to hit my car. I'm screaming and I start going into reverse. We're now both driving down the mountain in reverse, and I use my Bluetooth to call 911. They say they can't make anything out of what I'm saying because I'm screaming, and after about 100 yards of driving backwards, he stops, I stop, and I start talking to the 911 operator. The man gets out of his car with a weapon in hand and starts running towards me. I scream again. In the distance, a car is coming, and the man runs back into his vehicle and flees. I've never in my life been so scared. Never have I ever thought that I was about to be murdered. It's not a feeling you can forget, but it's hard to explain. I was crying and shaking uncontrollably for the next 6 hours. I do not drive on that road anymore. Jinky's Scoop. Number 5. My dad told me about his worst moment as a police officer. 4 teenagers in a car were drunk and joyriding. The car went off the road and flipped. My dad was the first to show up on the scene. All were dead, except for a teenage girl. She was on the ground, with her pelvis broken, screaming for help. He picks her up, told her that everything's gonna be fine, and she kept saying, "Please don't let me die," over and over again. She ended up dying in his arms. And to this day, he suffers from PTSD from all the ass he saw on duty. Number 4. I know a guy who worked at Ground Zero. The only story he would ever tell me was that he was digging through a pile, grabbed a boot, and a foot fell out. My bone-chilling moment was more of several minutes than a single moment. I did a fire investigation where the mom murdered her 2 kids and then lit herself on fire. She lined up all the kids' toys, drawings, playing cards, photos throughout the house leading from where she killed them to where she killed herself. Ooh, piece of candy. I still get chills thinking about that path. I still get chills thinking about that path. I will forever remember the cards saying "I love you, Mom," and the family drawings of stick figures that the children made. I've been on several fatalities since then, but that one will always stick with me. Figures. Stick figures. Number 3. Well, goddamn. When I was about 12, my sibling broke down and told my mother that they had been touched by our grandfather. This was late at night, and me, my siblings, and my mom pretty much cried in a pile all night long. It was one of the worst nights of my life. The next day we stay home from school, but Mom still needed to go to work. We lived in an apartment that was semi-underground, and the windows on one side of the house were pretty much on the ground outside. We hear a knock, and it's my grandfather's voice asking us to let him in. We were terrified. We ran to close all the blinds and to lock the door. He was an exceptional manipulator. He put on his sweetest, saddest grandpa voice and starts knocking on all the windows, pleading with us to let him in. None of us are saying anything. We're hiding. We call our mom and whisper that our grandpa's here and he's trying to get inside the house. He tries opening the door, and when it was locked, he started to get angry. Oh.
Dang, I am late.
Thanks, Demetrius. He tries opening the door, and when it's locked, he gets angry and he starts shouting. How could we do this to him? How he just loves us, and that nothing's wrong. Around 10 minutes later, he leaves, but the whole ordeal felt like hours. My mom rushed home as fast as she possibly could. I forget if it was the same or the next day, but his and my grandma's house ended up being searched by the police. They found that he had set up a tube to go from a closet in his study to the bathroom, and that he'd been watching us go to the bathroom and shower for who knows how long. Good news, he did go to prison for a whole 3 years. We have to see him at family gatherings, and it makes my skin crawl. I've been mugged at gunpoint and almost kidnapped in Mexico by a gang of murderers fleeing America, and my formerly sweet old grandpa trying to get us kids for God knows why is still the most terrifying thing I've experienced in my life. Number 2. I work in a mental health facility, particularly with the people who have extensive suicidal ideation and multiple psychiatric hospitalizations. Despite working with this population for close to 10 years, I have only had one client successfully commit suicide. They poured gasoline all over themselves and set themselves on fire, And there are no words for how extremely terrifying that is to see. The worst part was that they didn't immediately die. I'll hear them say, "This wasn't what I wanted," for the rest of my life. John B. in the stream chat asks, how many of these stories are non-fiction? I bet some are just fiction. You must be new here. I'm not these hack YouTubers. We're reading from Reddit. So many of these accounts, you can take for as far as you can throw them. Long story short, we have to assume that some of them are real. We have to assume that some of them are fake. But the truth of the matter is, there are enough of us in this world for things to be going on around the clock. Meaning there isn't a story that somebody can tell that hasn't happened before, isn't currently happening, or won't happen in the future. So just because someone's story may not be true, doesn't mean that life hasn't already imitated art. So to complete this list of scary, bone-chilling moments, short one, huh? We arrive at number 1. I was on the jury for a trial where a 70-year-old drunk driver hit and killed a motorcyclist after making an illegal turn. The police testified against him. All the evidence was against him. It was pretty cut and dry. Go into deliberations after both parties rested, and one woman refuses to convict him on most serious charge because he's old. She concedes on the other charges and refuses to switch because she's doing us all a favor by convicting on the lesser charges. We sit there for hours trying to convince her, and then a fellow male juror switches to the other side because he wants to go home. Someone else gets hungry, so they switch as well. Other people switch, jury can't come to a decision, and can't convict him on a major crime. I'll never forget seeing the wife of the motorcyclist cry, his parents in disbelief and start to cry, his young daughter just sitting there quietly. That's your legal system in action, ladies and gentlemen. I always say it doesn't matter what is right or wrong, what is true or false. It's about what you can convince a jury. It's about what you can get a jury to admit to.
Some people are saying that you may have read this already.
What else is new? I think that's the spookiest part of all, isn't it, Dia? I should put you on camera with a flickering candlelight. Would that be spooky enough?
Wouldn't that require for me to be spooky too?
Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed this list. I'm sorry it's so late. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Bing bong. Bing bong. How do you remember specifically what the list was? That's the crazy part. Y'all are crazy. Look, let's dig into Reddit's ridiculously broken search algorithm, and I'll read 3 more. Oh my God, every day with these. Dreams, oh my God. You see why Reddit's search function is so broken? Scary farting in public. while driving at night. I most certainly read this, huh? Most certainly. Oh, for the love of God, these are so unbearable. But fine. Number 3. Well, you know what? Let me go down to this one. The story of Mary Vincent. Oh my God. Mary Vincent was 15 years old when she decided to run away from home on September 28th, 1978. She was hitchhiking along the highway in Soquel, California, standing with 2 other hitchhikers. A man pulled up in the van and said that he only had room for her. I bet. But not the other men. The man driving the van was 51-year-old Larry Singleton. He offered to drive Mary to the I-5 highway. As they drove, Mary realized that he had passed the ramp to the I-5 and demanded that he turn around. Larry said it was an honest mistake and turned around. Soon after, he pulled over and told Mary he needed to go to the bathroom, that he couldn't wait for a rest stop. When he got out of the van, Mary realized her shoe was untied and got out to tie it. As she was trying to tie her shoelaces, Larry came behind her and hit her over the head with a sledgehammer. He then proceeded to rape and sodomize her. This is where it gets worse. Larry took a hatchet and cut off both of her arms, just below the elbow. Both of her arms. And then he threw her.
Hey Sile, what you think of the Vinland Saga anime?
Yeah, you got the wrong guy. I've never even heard of the Vinland Saga. I'm sorry to say, Demetrius, thank you for the 10 friggles. Squiggle biggle. The most astounding part of this, after she had had both of her arms cut off, is that Mary survived. She used what was left of her strength and made her way 3 miles out of the embankment, with no arms below the elbow, nude, and was stumbling down the road when she saw a car. The first car she saw sped away in fear. Can you imagine? The second car she saw, driven by a couple who were on vacation, stopped the car, helped her into the truck, and drove her to the nearby airport, where they were able to get an ambulance, and she was taken to a hospital. Aren't a lot of people who are going to survive the blood loss of having both their arms cut off. I didn't know that was a possibility without a tourniquet. Last summer in my city, a 14-year-old girl, oh my god, was bing-bonged near a train station. After her abuser left her, she tried to get help and flagged down a vehicle and was bing-bonged a second time in the car of the man who stopped. 2 complete strangers bing-bonged her on the same day. It happened only a few miles away from my house, and I still think about it from time to time. Wow. And y'all are dying for me to read more of this stuff. This is the stuff that makes my channel incapable of monetization. And not only have I read it all before, yes, because I've been doing this for so long, so consistently. But on top of it, when I try to just be, I don't know, reasonable or typical, or I keep getting roped back into this horse crap. I just watched a documentary about Colleen Stan, who survived being kidnapped by a sexual sadist who kept her in a coffin-sized box that he built under his bed, 22 hours a day for 7 years, while he bing-bonged her and tortured her. Okay. The survivor is the primary interviewee in the documentary and tells her story on camera for most of the documentary. The cops made mention of her bravery and ability to withstand her torture and manipulate her kidnapper to increase her safety. You know, I apologize. All of this is a little bit too real, unfortunately. Because the world's a little bit sicker than, YouTube or the mainstream media will try to cover everything and make it seem so. I'll have to go out of my way to look for, some really cheesy ass creepypastas about a phone call coming from inside the house, or a man vanishing when somebody was knocking on the door. Who was there? Oh. And we'll go from there. Just a list of me reading a bunch of creepypastas. Totally whack. I'll put D on camera and we'll go from there. Bigger than you thought. Now that's my kind of subreddit. I'll see you all later. Thank you, Demetrius, for being amazing. And I apologize that you've heard it all before. In case you think I'm slacking, not that I owe you, making it clear why I wouldn't read. You should take me at my word. I'm not the kind of average fuckboy that just lies for no reason. Here's the type of crap that's at the top of Reddit right now. You take no damage for 24 hours. What are you gonna do today? People who actually dress up as creepy clowns during 2016. Why did you do it? Like these are people you want to read a story from. Well, I felt like dressing up like a clown. Here's one. How's life so far? Do you need a hug, Reddit? Amazing. I saw one earlier and it really made me want to just shoot a video. You're in Home Depot and you suddenly hear a voice come on the intercom and say, the last person alive gets to leave. Home Depot Battle Royale. Sounds like a list, right? What's something you can't believe you had to explain to another adult? It sounds good, but you see how it's not white? Because I've been in there. It's not good. Spoiler alert. What food made you think, how the frick did our ancestors find out this was edible? Oh. Looking like a BuzzFeed story, you know what I mean? Looking like a story that you'd find on your Snapchat. Ugh. And in case you thought, maybe you think this is just today, let's look at the past week. Let's look at the past week on Reddit. Oh, cool. Well, I just saw the word demon. On the birth of your child, a demon appears and says your child will be extraordinarily attractive. You shall receive $1 billion if they are a virgin at the age of 25. Otherwise, your soul and theirs will be mine. You cannot inform your child of any aspect of the deal. What is your plan? How do you make your kid unbangable? Let's see what the top comment in this one is, because it is exceptionally retarded as far as the things that I've read on Reddit are concerned. The top comment says, that's literally the basis of every fairy tale. Why do you think the princess is trapped in the high tower, guarded by dragons and babysat by little people? Wake up, people. It was the 1 billion. And oh yeah, that will be my answer. I will lock the kid in a high tower, except I'll get better dragons. They always think it's better dragons that are gonna solve it. You should get plague-carrying rats. Yeah. And then give her shampoo that makes her hair fall out so she can't let down her hair to let people climb up the damn tower. It's nuts. Can you imagine if a dude came and my plague-carrying rats bit the dude, and then he climbed up her hair to get in there, and then the plague traveled from the dude into her, and now my daughter's dead, and I'm out a kid and $1 billion? Look, Stripes takes the cake. She says disfigure her face. Wow, Stripes. Wow. Ugly people get love too, Stripes. And in fact, people who have less going on physically are usually more interesting. I can't believe you'd even suggest that. Stripes, you're a monster. And with that, we're going to end this list before we give Stripes another platform to be monstrous. Icky says, make her flat-chested. This may be my favorite answer. Make her flat-chested. What if we trick her into believing she has a child from an early age? And then like that child will be like the baby shield. Nobody want none of that. Flat-chested and have a kid.
How can you make someone think that that's their baby?
We can also socialize her to the point where she thinks it's like normal to be extremely and excessively talkative. I think it's pretty easy when you think about it. Make her just like her mommy. Yeah. I don't know, man. If she's... No, they said she's attractive. People will put up with crazy for that.
That's like straight.
She could literally honk like a goose, and someone would put up with that if she's attractive. You know, you'd have to make all the men blind. You'd have to just bathe the lands in a mist of some sort. What's number 2 here, and then we'll leave. Build an underground bunker stocked with the necessities for 25 years and convince your child that they're living in a post-apocalyptic hellscape. Hey, man, Fallout. You know? We live in a vault. We live in a society. Inside a vault.
You know what someone else said that I kind of got a little chuckle out of me?
What?
Make a WoW account.
Make him a World of Warcraft account? Who said that?
Someone said it in that thread.
Oh, in the thread.
Yeah.
Guys, get a hold of me. Snapchat me, get in the Discord, leave a comment on this video. Otherwise, you know, bask in the fiery glow of this channel in flames. You know, serves me right for not being fake enough. But I want to make a fake video with Dia. So if you send me a suggestion in the Discord or on Snapchat, and the suggestion is hilarious and good enough, and it's the typical type of crap that will float up the trending page, like I'm trying to do everything. I'm basically trying to get makeup tutorial views without doing that right now. Just for one video on the channel. That's all I want. So let's see what we can mix up. Love you. See you guys later. We'll go from there. Fine, I'll drop popcorn. I'll release popcorn, Romeo, okay? I was just thinking of shooting a video for popcorn. Even though it's like a minute long, because I'm not doing more. It's not even a real song, dude. It almost like cuts off, you know? But I hope you enjoy it. That's it. So I'll see you guys later. Have an amazing night. Bye.